Hello and welcome to Hotelier's Voice. I'm Ryan Haynes, and in this episode, I spoke to a number of people at the National Hotel Marketing Conference to find out what were some of the key topics that were being discussed and how some of the vendors are addressing some of the key challenges in hotel marketing today. Let's find out what it had to say.
Hotelier's Voice. Exploring opportunity in hospitality with Ryan Haynes. Hear from the people making a difference. From revenue to operations, marketing to digitalization, learn the thinking behind their decisions.
So I'm with Chloe Parry from Carden Park. Here we are at National Hotel Marketing Conference. This morning's session so far, what are a couple of things you've really taken away from that?
The use of AI and how to use it well. I found Ian Miller really interesting, and last year he was brilliant as well. So that has been so interesting. And also pinch marketing, talking about B2B and making it more exciting. And there were so many things that they said about in there about, that it was boring, the stuff that we're guilty of doing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing their seminar later to find out a little bit more.
Yes, I mean, B2B marketing, as you can think, business to business sounds a bit of a dull draw, but people are people. And I guess you've really got to strike them and hit them where their interest lies. And that was really a lot about what she was trying to say, wasn't it? So hit them hard, make a big impact.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you think of B2B, you do kind of think, oh, it's a little bit boring, but it shouldn't be. It should be exciting, and you should get people, really excited and invested in you as a business as well. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to take away from that talk, definitely.
Last 12 months been a lot about AI. You just mentioned sort of that talk, but where have you been using AI and trialing it out in your day-to-day business?
Yeah, we do use it a fair bit. I do use it myself. I'm not the best writer. I can write short captions for social media and everything, but longer blogs, I do need a little bit of a prompt with it, and then I can get going. So I do use it for that. I use it within photo editing as well. It makes things much quicker if, I'm trying to get rid of a van that's in the middle of the picture and it's the worst place possible. So I do use it quite a bit, but it's just where we use it and how we use it, which is really key.
Excellent. Chloe, thank you very much indeed. So with Harry Fielder here at the International Hotel Marketing Conference, what are some of the things that hoteliers really should be thinking about or maybe putting on hold thinking about right now?
Good question. So I think I've sort of got three overarching principles that I'm trying to hold at the core at the moment. The first is, in the context of AI, is to protect the thinking. Never let the thinking go, because if you start assigning strategic and thinking tasks out to AI, that's a very, very quick way of losing your identity. So what I try to do as a bit of a kind of activity is to draw a line on a page. All of the things that I do that are doing, you can put over in one column, and all the things that require my thought, my expertise and everything, put in the thinking column. And when you are working out how to use AI in your business or in your own personal workflows, make sure that you protect the thinking part of it. The next overarching piece is probably around trusting the process of marketing. So we can get very caught up in the tools. So the new ChatGPT have launched sort of advertising, and we've got amazing sort of creative, generative AI putting together some amazing ad creative and various things. So we can get so just caught up in the tools that we completely lose the point of marketing, and we just forget all of the underlying principles. So your 4 Ps of marketing, your segmenting, targeting, positioning, all of the core academic theories really that underpin our entire profession are just as important now than they ever have been. But we can kind of blinker ourselves and not appreciate them in the way that they should be appreciated because we're so distracted by tools, which is a shame. And finally, I think everyone has to look at their roles and work out how they are going to move up the value chain. So if our roles are always going to be a combination of thinking and doing, right? And if the doing elements are starting to be abstracted away, whether that it's how can we then engineer our roles so that we are the masters of that doing as opposed to being replaced. So an analogy might be, if people were spinning wool by hand, on a spinning wheel, they then had to become machine operators, and the way, if you can translate that into certainly my world of agency and building things and designing things, are we going to be pushing pixels left and right, or are we going to be the creative guardians of the design and creative orchestrators of design? Are we going to be writing every line of code? Probably not. We're going to be solutions architects. We're going to be crafting and instructing the development of something. So everyone's kind of move up the value chain. If you are writing content, you become the brand guardian, the guardian of the voice, as opposed to the doer of that. So I think moving up the value chain is going to be a really core theme at the moment. Protect the thinking, trust the process, and try and move up the value chain.
Oh, Harry, thinking. Oh, so difficult. Can't I just do? It's so much easier.
You could, but then all the thinking will be the same. And this is where those awesome like advertising campaigns, your AI is not going to come up with a domino, is it? That was good singing.
It was. Well done.
But AI is not going to come up with that. It's off the wall stuff. Yeah. Because if you could paraphrase
real life stuff, really human stuff,
and you could paraphrase the sort of agentic output as bang average, because it's giving you the most statistically likely outcome to a given prompt.
I must say, most AI stuff I see produced nowadays is dull as ditch water, and it does switch you off.
It's not wrong, but it's not wow. And that's because it is, as I paraphrased it, bang average. It is the statistically most likely outcome. So it's never going to, it's just not going to surprise you. So protect the thinking, and actually having a real voice, a real identity that is an extension of human personality, human feeling, is going to stand out more than it ever has done against that canvas of slop.
Thank you, Harry. David Ohandjanian. So, UpHotel Agency, congratulations. There's been a development. Tell us a bit more.
There has. We've been acquired by a company called Reguest from South Tyrol, Northern Italy, to bring the software into the UK and still run our agency successfully.
Okay, we'll start off with the business side. Who are they? What do they do? And how is that going to help you?
So predominantly they're guest communication, CRM software, but they're building what's called a commercial operating platform, which means that they're bringing all of these parts together into one system. We know hotels struggle from all of the different technologies that are available there, which works with what, and actually bringing the pieces of software that are interchangeable if they want to, but also having a total solution will make a massive difference. And then having the data to be able to actually pull that together too and make that actionable will be a huge difference for hotels as well.
Obviously a big expansion really from sort of what you do from web to digital marketing right through to how that data is handled, and it's an area obviously that is highly administrative if you're not careful.
That's right. And I think the other key to it is the whole messaging side of things. So whether you've messaged over WhatsApp, Instagram, whether you're emailing, whether you're talking on the website via a chatbot, all of that is saved to a profile, and then that becomes influencing over the profile itself. So for instance, we know they're interested in wellness, and they've spoken about wellness, and we're able to market to them in that way. But having that all centrally and usable, and then being able to then utilize that into active campaigns is the key to what makes a real difference. And for us as an agency, having a silo of maybe Google Analytics data or website data, and not having things like PMS data from how they've interacted when they've stayed at the hotel, or typical upsells or room types that they've actually chosen, it really helps us to be a bit more powerful in our campaigns and what we do.
2026 National Hotel Marketing Conference. What do you feel hoteliers really should be thinking about during the course of the next coming year?
Well, you know what? I've genuinely loved the juxtaposition of AI. Everyone's interested in AI. Of course they're interested in AI. It's been the last 2 years. But actually the conversations that we've been having are people going, actually, do you know what? Let's not go too far with this technology and focus a bit more on the basics. What is our brand? Who are we as a hotel? How do we get this message across? Why would people visit us? Actually, let's not jump the gun. Let's get those things in place first. The rest will kind of follow. So I really like that because I'm a marketer at heart. So actually going in and jumping to a tool rather than thinking about a strategy is sometimes a little bit too common in hotels because they're being pushed that way. However, going back to the very heart of knowing who your audience are, who your key targets and your messaging is, and then taking those tools to be able to deliver that is a real nice shift, I think, in the conversations that I've heard today.
Now, sorry, you told me the company that you took over was in Italy. You get to go there very often?
Do you know what? It might have been an influencing factor that there's great pizza, amazing wine, and a drive past Lake Garda on the way.
No way.
And then Dolomites there and mountains. But surely it was just a business decision to make the sale.
Well, I'm a very good travel companion if you ever need one, okay?
Wonderful. I'm sure we'll be doing a podcast from the Dolomites.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Thank you very much. So, Holly McCue from Affinity, you did a session today at the National Hotel Marketing Conference on Beyond the Search Bar, winning the AI Armed Traveller. AI, lot talking about that, and there was a couple earlier sessions in the program. But where do hoteliers start? From an Affinity perspective, what's your advice?
Hello and thank you. I guess like the workshop that I did today was very much kind of drawing back on the fundamentals of marketing. Hotels definitely need to understand the whole digital landscape, what content is available. I think hotels perhaps in the past few years have maybe ignored some of the channels where there's content, review sites, building out unique content for their site. But with the kind of growth in the LMMs and AI overviews and basically AI search, which up to over 80% of consumers are using, they can't ignore this. So, reviews that used to sit on page 10 of TripAdvisor now are being surfaced. So you can no longer hide behind some of the content that's out there. So I guess what we're saying to hotels at the moment is you need to go back to the fundamentals, know what content is available, know what content your competitors have from an AI perspective, understand what your personas and your customers actually want and create the content around them. And by doing them things, you will improve your chances of coming back in them AI search results or ChatGPT questions and, increase that visibility and increase that chance of getting website traffic to your website and bookings as well. So going back very much to the fundamentals of some of the marketing practices to help you in the future.
So really take that long-term perspective, no pain, no gain, really focusing on who you are, what you're doing, and get that information all consolidated to be found.
100%. A lot of hotels, like I was saying, don't know what is available about them, what information is there. There's also a lot of incorrect information out there, or maybe reviews that have grown legs on websites such as Reddit. But they're actually very important that a hotel is aware of the sentiment, whether it's negative or positive, because all of this content is now being given to the customer when they're trying to discover where they should stay and how they should book that hotel. So you need to be aware of it and you can't ignore it. So yeah, it's very much fundamental work. I think that this year, get ahead of maybe some of the big changes that are going to come even more with Google next year, and get ahead of it and feel like you have a bit of control over it.
Well, a wonderful thing is that Affinity is one of our key sponsors as part of the Roundtable Roadshow. So if you want to get some real proper advice, you can join us at one of those events or obviously speak to them yourselves. Holly, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
So, Des Mahoney from Book Assist, thank you very much indeed. What are some of the things that hoteliers should really be keeping on top of every year to make sure that their platforms are really providing for them?
So one of the key areas, I think, is that the customer is changing dramatically all the time. And sometimes hoteliers fall into the trap of thinking that what they did last year will work this year, will work next year. And what we've seen, especially over the last year and a half, is the pace of change in AI. The focus there within a hotel is around what am I going to do with this technology? What am I going to do, etc. But the reality is that the customer has embraced it in terms of the adoption of different social media habits, etc. And they're moving quite quickly as users of the output of AI. And I think hotels are quite behind on that. And one of the more important things that they need to do is to either partner with experts or have an expert in-house who really understands it, because the industry is moving far faster from a technology perspective than most of the hotels can keep up.
I was going to say AI, big conversation. Are they behind? Are they ahead? How can hoteliers really get to grips with what's going to work for them and their hotel?
Well, one of the areas is to focus on what's important in the hotel right now in terms of how they do their business. Pick the primary areas that are important focus in on one or two of those, and then really investigate how to use AI to perhaps either optimize that area or even completely transform it. A typical example would be something that's usually quite a difficult issue, which is revenue management in a hotel. It's exactly the sort of tool or rather area that a tool like AI can bring huge benefits to, because it's a number crunching role. It's a predictive role. It uses lots of history in order to try to predict where you go in the future. And that's exactly what an AI tool can do for you. I actually think the converse of this is that the use of AI will probably expose poor or bad revenue management in hotels very, very quickly. And if you see something like Google's price tracking tool now, which was very successful for the airline industry up to now, but that's being applied to hotels. So, for example, customers will be able to see if this is a hotel that typically drops its rates 10 days before your arrival. That sort of thing is exposed now on the web simply because of the patterns that are out there that AI can see. So a hotel needs to be careful about those things and to understand that if they're not adopting the right tools in order to do this properly, then effectively they're going to be left behind.
Now, you got a workshop at the program looking at a case study with Easy Hotel. What were some of the learnings and developments that they experienced?
So with Easy Hotel, it's an international group, but it's UK based. And so when they started on this particular journey with us 2.5 years ago, they understood the UK market very well and they marketed well there, but they did not understand the international market very well and basically tried to apply the same rules that they use in the UK to the international markets. And that didn't work. And that's one of the areas that we do well because we've got quite a lot of international offices. So we've focused with them on growing international business. And that has been very, very successful. So we've probably, I think it's around 40% of their business now is direct business. And that was a small fraction 2.5 years ago. And most of that has come from international growth. So what we've done with them is we've worked on multilingual content, multilingual advertising, and tailoring and localizing through some with AI research, but some with just good legwork, tailoring the kind of keywords that are needed in order to target markets in different countries. So the international growth is something that's very important, and I think again that's something that many hotels struggle with. They know their own marketplace. They forget that there's a very large marketplace they can tap into. Easy Hotel have done that really, really well over the last 2 years.
Des, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Matt Willacy from Forsight, National Hotel Marketing Conference. So, what are some of the things that hoteliers should be thinking about this coming year?
We're very lucky to announce at the National Hotel Marketing Conference our latest module, which is our loyalty product, which is really designed to support independent hoteliers that don't have the benefit of a brand and a loyalty program linked to that brand. And we're bringing that to our customers to enable them to encourage loyalty and reward that loyalty for the customers that are coming through the doors of their hotel. And they don't need to be guests that are staying. You can reward your guests for dining in the restaurant, going to the bar, buying treatments in the spa. And so all of these things can then be redeemed through vouchers throughout your booking process, and also enables you to open up rewards around membership rates too. So all in all, we're very excited to be here, full of really incredible marketers. It's very focused, lots of learnings. I'm very excited to be talking about our loyalty product too.
I mean, it's really interesting. And the conversations I've been having on the regional roundtables at the moment is just from an independent perspective, not only the significant proportion of direct bookings they get, but also that repeat. When they look into that data and they get to see how often their customers return, what are they doing to reward them? And like you said, it's not just about people coming from afar to stay for a few days, but it is business coming from up the road. And that's just tapping into really additional revenue, isn't it?
Absolutely true. And we see that the return on investment for implementing a loyalty program like this has some real tangible revenue benefits for our customers. For every £1 spent, we're seeing returns of at least £145, which is really significant. And those numbers are, those are seen with the customers that are using the product. But however, and this is the thing, data is so important. So what do we do with the membership data that we're seeing and the insights that sit behind the rewards that you're offering. And that's where the CRM will come in to hone the personalization, to encourage your loyalty members to move through the tierings that you have available. And again, it's all about repeat custom and encouraging guests to come back time and time again.
Matt, thank you very much indeed today. Dan Assor from No Vacancy London, no
Yes.
less. Are you here to steal ideas?
Well, I'm here to see what's up with marketing. We've got a marketing track at the event, so we're in heavy planning mode for 2027. The chatter on the floor as well as the talk is all about AI. That wouldn't come as a shock and amazement to people, and how it's sort of disrupting the customer booking journey. So, yeah.
Now, congratulations, because it was your first year and it's obviously always nerve-wracking when you're launching an event in the market. No Vacancy London, just quickly, just run us through what it is and how well it went.
Sure, thank you. Yeah. So, firstly, it's owned and operated by Terrapin, so we're a global business events organizer. And back in 2024, we purchased No Vacancy Sydney, which is the largest event for the hotel and accommodation market in APAC, with a view to not only growing it out there, but taking its different territories. So we launched No Vacancy Asia in Bangkok in November, and as you quite rightly said, London in February in Excel. And that's what it says in the tin. So yes, it's for hoteliers, all shapes and sizes. Small, medium, large, and also chain brands as well. And I guess the reason why it's called hotel and accommodation is because also we get representation from service department owners, apart hotels, some short-term rentals, holiday parks, and so on. How it went? Yeah, really well. We got 2,700 attendees, had about 100 exhibitors, 146 speakers across 10 tracks of content. And we're in planning mode for next year's, which takes place 24th, 25th of February back in Excel London. So, yeah.
Excellent. So National Hotel Marketing Conference, you may be here to just see what could be on the agenda from a marketing perspective, but obviously marketing an event, hotels need to market events, conferences.
Yeah.
What was your experience there? Where are sort of like real touch points for having a successful attendance?
Yeah, sure. I think it's multi-pronged, if I'm allowed to say that cliche. I think most marketeers in the event space, I can't speak for how this translates into other areas, would say that email marketing, even though it's old hat and not as sexy as it once was when it first came into the mind's eye 30 years ago, maybe, still the number one in terms of generating registrations and pushing attendees to event. But that's obviously amplified now with the use of social. Predominantly we use LinkedIn, but we are going to be expanding into other platforms. And partners, really important. So we teamed up with the likes of Institute Hospitality, Hosper. We had Harry from the chair of Hotel Marketing Association also speak as well. UK Hospitality, a whole raft of media, hotel magazine, so on and so forth, sort of helping to drive interest and registrations to the event.
So really a lot to think about there, and it is, that FOMO side, because I ended up there. I was due to go there, don't you worry. I was planning on going there, but I sent out my invites for ITB, and half the people who I sent it back said, come to no vacancy. So did a very good job to obviously create that FOMO effect.
Yes. Well, firstly, thank you. What I should have said is one of my number one channels of driving people to the event was your good self, retrospectively. But actually, yeah, word of mouth, right? That tried and trusted method, which is always hard to measure, still has a place in this digital world, digital environment. So yeah, we're really pleased. We're really excited to be doing it again. We're looking at other potential launches as well. So watch this space.
Excellent. Dan, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
We're doing a lot of live events at the moment, so why not come and join us, whether it's one of the conferences or trade shows that we attend, or one of the roundtables. We always have space, particularly for hoteliers or hospitality professionals. We'd love to see you there. So either email me on ryan@hoteliersvoice.com or follow the LinkedIn page, because I'm forever promoting where and when it will be. Until then, ciao for now.